give a little background, and then we'll also be hearing from Elizabeth Morawski from SIFT as well. But we're going to have Sarah Stubblefield from Northwest State Community College kick us off and talk about some of these funding options and apprenticeship hallmarks. Thank you.
Sure. My name is Sarah Stubblefield. I work at Northwest Community College. I'm a project manager there. And today I'm wearing my OMWP hat, which is Ohio Manufacturing Workforce Partnership. And I'd like to just kind of give a little context to that project. And then we'll discuss how we're trying to assist with finding funding, braiding funding, and spreading awareness in our region of different opportunities for employers. So just to give you a brief background on this project, I mean, there are a few value statements that we're operating by, which is collaboration, innovation, and education, right? We really want this to be a sector strategy partnership with a lot of different entities working together to increase the number of registered and non-registered apprenticeship learn and earn pathways and get more people into a high wage job. It's an H-1B grant is the source of the funding. So of course the idea is always to take individuals and train them to a level where they can not only have a good life, but also fill some of the positions that we struggle to fill in our area. So we're covering 14 counties in Northwest Ohio in Region 1. Like I said, it's a statewide initiative, but in our region, we go from Williams to Wyandotte diagonally. And this project is going to bring around $300,000 worth of innovative funds over the course of the next 2 years-ish, with the goal to train 617 individuals. And the focus here, we want some out-of-school youth over the age of 17. People can be unemployed or underemployed, or they can be current employees. Of course, we want to focus on veteran, women of color, people of color, ex-offenders, women in general. And this is a Department of Labor guideline that they would like their initiatives to focus on this population. The jobs we're targeting here are some production, machining, but I think this is really just what Northwest Ohio does best, right? Especially with production in there, it opens the door for us to just reach just about every employer in our area. This project is, when we want to have registered or non-registered apprenticeships, we define that as having 5 hallmarks, really, that individuals will have a paid learn and earn component. They'll be working somewhere, that they'll receive OJT training and mentorship. They'll have related technical instruction. They'll receive an industry recognized credential, and they'll be working someplace safe. I just want to go over this quickly so that you can understand the why of why OMWP is working on this issue of braided funding and putting industry recognized credentials into the hands of individuals in our area. Because at the end of the day, one of the things that we are really trying to develop is a learning network, a peer network of schools talking to schools, employers talking to employers, and developing not only educational resources, but also helping to identify and braid that funding. So when we talk about different sources of funding in order to upscale your workforce or bring new people in, I just wanted to, I am no by means an expert in all of these areas, but I have actually worked with some of these entities as I've been working on different grants and projects. And it always comes down to relationships, contacting them, and finding out what grants they currently have or what initiatives they currently have at their organization. And I like to start with the community actions because I think sometimes they get forgotten. At one point, I did work for Great Lakes Community Action. They were called WSOS at the time. And we had H-1B grants where we were paying for OJT funds up to 12 weeks for employers. So you might not think of your community actions as someplace to go when you're trying to put together a plan for your organization in terms of training and finding funding for that. But you might be surprised that they have grants related to fatherhood and reentry and other things that they're trying to train individuals for if you're looking for someone to hire. And also they might be able to be a good partner for you in order to train your workforce that you currently have. The same goes with Goodwill Industries. A lot of different community actions a lot of different community organizations like LISC, Catholic Charities, Lutheran Charities, local foundations. A lot of times they take on the plan of trying to reach people in their neighborhoods, in their communities that need some sort of skills in order to find meaningful work and support themselves. And so they are a good partner in this conversation. They may have funds available to you, and they may also be able to help you navigate and make connections with others who are able to provide those funds for you as well. I've listed Ohio Means Jobs, Jobs and Family Services, and Veterans all in one because sometimes you may find that they are actually triple combined with a single director over all three entities. Income maintenance is another place to start here. Again, sometimes they're four all combined underneath the same director. And they have funds, WIOA funds, if you're not familiar with that term. It's Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. It's a federal act. And the idea is that individuals can apply for reimbursement for their college in order to go into a high demand field. There is also CCMEP funding, which is Comprehensive Case Management and Employment Program. That program, again, is working to some of the same target populations that the grant, the project OMWP that I'm currently working on. We share a similar strategy. And I know that this grant is from the state of Ohio. It's a partnership, and I don't want to get into like the funding at the upper level, but it is in your communities. And the goal there, again, is to not only employ and educate individuals, but also it has a case management component where they're really hands-on with the people that they work with and trying to help them get over barriers in terms of transportation, childcare, mental health issues, and that sort of thing. And also, don't forget about the GI Bill, or Veterans Services. They really want to get their service members into the community and back to work and using the skills, the wonderful skills that they've learned while they were in service. And they may be a partner for you as well. Next, I've listed some state agencies. There's Apprentice Ohio that has a work opportunity tax credit associated with it. And then Tech Cred, which I believe Elizabeth will discuss later on. So I don't want to go too far into that, but as you can see, there's a wide breadth of individuals out there who are doing work in this space, who have funding to support them. And last but not least are educational partners, because we're in this space as well. And so sometimes your economic development, your educational partners, they're working together in order to put these programs into place in your community as well. We have state and federal grants. I work on an adult diploma program, which is getting people who are over the age of 22 and do not have a high school diploma, an industry credential, and then trying to help them get employed. There's a lot of these, I don't want to call them small, but there's just like a subsect of different grants and programs at the state and federal level. And we realize that with all of that out there, it gets very confusing for our employer partners to say, how can I even know where to start, who to go to, the names or any of that? We've been hearing a lot of it. If you attended the OMA conference last week, again, they talked about Ohio Means Jobs funding and braided funding. And so it is a goal at the state level, and OMWP is trying to work on that. So this is what I was saying, wading through the eligibility forms and rules, remembering all the acronyms, it can be very difficult for anyone. For me as well, I have to have my own notes. And the idea is that we would create a single document or a resource guide. And the OMA is really leading the charge here, and they're working with a lot of different partners to bring this in and share across the state. There are other regions who are working on this as well, not just Region 1. And we would like to create a no wrong door culture. So if you go to your local educational partner, say you contact Northwest State and you're like, do you have a grant that's doing this, or can you help me figure this out? We would be knowledgeable enough to say, you know, it's not us, but have you tried to contact NOCAC? And I think they have a program, and let me get you that number. Eventually, this is the goal over the OMWP project when it ends in 2023, is that we have this in place and we're in a different future state where we don't have as much confusion over different acronyms and programs. So this is a draft. This is something that we started to frame out in order to try to capture all these different funding sources and put them in some sort of table or reference guide in order to help individuals. So don't get too caught up on whether something is on there or something isn't. Like I said, it's a draft, but I wanted to let you know that it is in progress and we're working on it. And we also would love feedback from all of you. We want to develop a tool that would be useful to you. What format should it take? Are you looking for a single Excel spreadsheet? Are you looking for a website? You know, are you looking for an actual physical spiral bound notebook that you can use? We need to know what you need in order to be able to deliver that. So I'm grateful that Sarah and the Chamber have given me the opportunity to talk to you today about this. This is by no means my initiative. This is something that we're trying to do across the state. And if you didn't see an item on there and you thought it should be, please call and yell at me. I'd love to hear what we're missing. That's what we're at the stage at right now, is trying to figure out who would use this and what do they need it to look like. And also we want to collect information from others as to what things they are working on in this space and what funding they have and the goals and the initiatives that they are working on as well. So hopefully I have not taken up too much time going into the weeds here, but I think that it's important for all of us to figure out what all these acronyms are. As someone who's been doing this work for well over 20 years, starting in children's services and when working with families, trying to figure out who in the area can help them get on their feet or get them an education or get them housing. It has always been an issue, it seems, to navigate the rapids of quickly changing funding sources and programs that come up in the end as soon as they start. And I'm really excited to be working on a project that may finally be targeting that issue and coming up with a solution.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sarah. And thank you for helping us to navigate, all of those options and an alphabet soup, if you will. I know we've referred to it often as that. Before we move on to our next section, I was wondering if there were any questions right now for Sarah and any of the content she presented. You're welcome to either go off mute or you can put your question in the chat. Sarah, I'm also going to ask that you might share your email address in the chat as well, and we'll send that in a follow-up as well, because maybe if Sarah's not someone who can help you, she can help to send you or connect you to the right person. Thank you. All right, so I don't see any questions at this time, so I think we will move on, and if you think of anything in the meantime, feel free to put it in the chat. We'll continue to monitor that. Elizabeth, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Would you like to share a little bit more about yourself and your background, and then feel free to share your screen?
Absolutely. So my name is Elizabeth Morawski, and I have been with SIFT, the Center for Innovative Food Technology, for about a year and a half or so. And my role there is business and workforce development, and primarily SIFT serves as the Ohio MEP. So for the Northwest Ohio region specifically, we represent about an 18-county region in our little pocket of the world, as well as working across the state with food processors and manufacturers, which is our core competency around facility design and engineering, product development, and a host of other kind of food-specific activities. in Northwest Ohio, we offer lean initiatives and a number of other kind of related workforce and general manufacturing services. In particular, today I am speaking specifically about some of the different pathways that might get you to an apprenticeship style program. So apprenticeships often lead to, as Sarah mentioned, kind of higher wage earn opportunities, but there are so many steps that need to be taken before you even get to that stage, right? So very briefly, I am just going to share a document I put together, as well as a couple of other resources that I think you guys might find interesting. So let's see here. All right. First, I just wanted to kind of mention, if you have not visited the state website for the Ohio Office of Workforce Transformation, it is housed under the Lieutenant Governor Husted, and he works very closely with a number of different programs that directly impact what you kind of have already heard that Sarah mentioned through Northwest State and some of their opportunities, but as well as a host of others. And it sort of serves like a portal. And it's a great way to kind of keep fresh about what is happening at the state level in terms of funding resources. Because not only do we not always hear about it until it's like ready to go, but sometimes there are different programs that maybe MEP doesn't have right in front of us, or we aren't necessarily having oversight on, but there are other areas of opportunity out there. So just real briefly, I wanted to talk about just 3 or 4 things that MEP specifically gets involved in and has opportunities to share information around. The first is the new IMAP program. This is really directed towards individuals interested in upskilling their capabilities, but they are industry recognized and technology focused credentials. So Sarah kind of mentioned this as she was going through some things, but just in particular, if you have somebody, again, just kind of reinforcing what Sarah said, if you have somebody who's interested in pursuing these sorts of opportunities, you and your HR team probably can really drive their interest and acceptance into these programs. I think the more interconnected individuals are with what their employers are looking for, everybody wins. The next one is an internship reimbursement program. So this is really driven for high school students. If you have talked with Kathy Whitty or Troy Wildermuth out of my office at any point in the last probably year, you've heard a little bit about these programs. We usually get notification that we might have some funding available, I don't know, every year, but it's like right before all that program rolls out, and is eligible for up to $1,500 in internship opportunities. The nice thing about this type of a program is that not only are you helping students learn what it is like to have a career in manufacturing and introducing them to what being in the workforce looks like, but you are also able to provide a direct connect and a foundation for building loyalty within your organization, right? So we all want people who want to be with us. We all want people who want to work with and for us. But a lot of times you don't necessarily know them until they've been through the hiring process. This is a great opportunity to meet high school students as they're getting ready to enter the workforce and help them achieve certain skills outside of just that manufacturing component or credential piece. So this is really intended for high school students that you have for a short period of time. And a lot of times what they're seeing out of this program is that kids are then being kept on and brought into a full-time working position, which is always awesome. Who doesn't want to see a light at the end of the tunnel? And most of the time, this program, the Ohio Manufacturing Internship Reimbursement, is super easy to manage, which I think is one of the benefits, because a lot of these other programs do require quite a bit of wandering through paperwork, as Sarah mentioned. The other two specifically is the Ohio Third Frontier Diversity and Inclusion Technology Internship Program. Lots of words, really intended for four-year institution students who are pursuing technology as a career choice. So they're going into IT, they're managing CNC systems, they're really hyper involved in those sorts of things. And this is, again, intended for up to 2/3 of the intern's wages, up to $10,000. So this is a really big opportunity. The couple of things to look out for is most of the time this happens in the fall. the August timeframe is really when you probably need to be paying attention to this. The website that I've listed there should hopefully be good as you guys approach into next year. And every once in a while, there might be other opportunities for similar type programming. You're as aware as I am at this point. So as things continue to progress, we'll obviously bring this information to the group as quickly as we know it. And last, rumor has it there's going to be a sixth round, according to the Lieutenant Governor. It usually rolls out about every 2 months. So that's just something for your radar screens. The cool thing about Tech Cred, and I know that everybody has talked about Tech Cred over and over, there are a couple things that I think most employers don't necessarily know or haven't heard yet. But one is that if you don't see a credential that you think is really valuable, ask for it. It probably just hasn't been brought up yet, and there are hundreds of credentials that aren't listed yet. SIFT is listed as a provider for HACCP for managers. So if you're in the food industry or you're looking or you need some sort of food safety programming for your management, that's something that we can do. But there are a lot of other providers, including Northwest State and some of our other teams here locally, that can be a technical service provider for you. And the key is that these credentials, while technology focused, don't necessarily have to be IT specific. These are really, again, about upskilling your teams so that they are achieving what it is that you need for the future of your manufacturing workforce development. And TechCred is so far been used in August alone. They're working with about 4,000 students. They're intended to be upskilling for right now, if that makes any sense. So they're short term, so they need to be completed in a very specific period of time. And they are meant to be used in the career opportunities within your own system. So all of that said, you can find a list of the certifications and credentials on the website that I've linked there. Sarah has this document, so she can send it out for us when we're completed here. But I just really wanted to make everybody aware that this is hopefully somewhat simple. You do need an Ohio ID. If you are not familiar with that process, it's very simple to do, but you need your EIN number as an employer. So once you register on that website, create your Ohio ID if you don't already have one. It is a very smooth process for how you communicate what it is that you're looking for. I think that's about it. Sarah, did I miss anything?
I don't think from my side, but I think Sarah Stubblefield is more experienced in this area than I am. Any questions from the group we have here? Any comments? Has anyone been able to utilize some of this funding and had any success stories with it that they'd like to share?
Sarah, Sarah Stubblefield, did I miss anything?
No, I don't think you did a wonderful job.
Okay.
Yes, that was really good, Elizabeth. This is Kathy Whitty.
Hey, Kathy.
And I work with Elizabeth, and I think she mentioned my name, so I thought I would chime in for just a quick second to let everybody know we this past fall, kind of at the last minute, we got word that we were going to get this funding for these MEP internships. I mean, of course, this year has been so different. Typically, we get those $1,500 ones in April, but we received some like in August, and we signed up over 11 manufacturers, reached out to companies. Many of them already have interns, but many of them also, decided to get an intern because of this. So it was very successful. And so we're very happy. I'm happy that it got presented. When I was listening initially to Sarah, I thought I should pipe in, and then Elizabeth did it for me. So, anyway, it is a very successful program for our manufacturers. So I just wanted to kind of reiterate that. So thank you.
Absolutely. Always happy to represent what SIFT is bringing to our region. And if you have any questions, I'll put our website as well as Kathy and both my emails in the chat feature as well for future follow-up. And I mean, truly, any questions about anything I spoke about, we would be happy to answer. And it wouldn't surprise me if some of you have already heard some of those things. judging by who I see a little bit of. And again, you probably will be hearing from us. We are doing we've been asked to help coordinate some assessments around kind of post-COVID recovery and activities. So you may be hearing from us just for about 10 or 15 minutes to ask some questions. Just, what is happening with your workforce? Do you have people furloughed? And some super simple things to answer, but we're trying to help guide the state and the federal government a little bit on what our manufacturers need. And being the representatives of the manufacturing voice in the region, we would be happy to get all of those things connected. So that's hopefully going to continue to progress.
Absolutely. I do have a question about the document. We're going to be sending that in a follow-up email. This session is also going to be recorded, so we'll be able to get you this recording in case you want to share that with anyone within your network, or you have anything that you wanted to go back to. I would also say this is something that we'd like to continue to do, to talk about different opportunities like this. So if there is any ideas or any programs or opportunities that this group would like to learn more about or would like to share, we'd like to be able to add those to our option. Oh, there you go. Elizabeth was able to send it. Thank you.
New skills. All of a sudden I was like, wait, I've seen someone else do this. I can do it too, right?
That's fantastic. Well, thanks again for joining us, and we look forward to connecting with you all again soon. Take care.